You're listening to episode 182 of the Tell Your Story Better podcast. My name is Isolde Trachtenberg, and I'm thrilled that you're here. I do want to tell you that the podcast is undergoing some changes. It's going to be something a little bit more geared towards living your best creative life and communicating about it. So I'm incorporating a few additional aspects of what I love and hope will help you live your best, most creative, and most exciting life. Hello and welcome to the Tell Your Story Better podcast. My name is Isolde Trachtenberg and I'm super happy you're here. Here is where I explore public speaking, communication, engaging an audience, and finding your voice. Hello, and welcome to the show. My name is Isolde Trachtenberg, and I'm happy to welcome you to the Tell Your Story Better podcast. I'm excited today because the podcast, as I said, is evolving into something a little bit different. It's going to be about living your best creative, fulfilling, and inspiring life and telling that story. So I'm super excited about that. And today's episode is all about telling your story. It's about how to get what I call camera ready if you're going to be interviewed. So let's say you've just released a product or you're promoting a project or you've written a book or whatever it is that you're trying to get the word out about, and you've been contacted for an interview, for an article. I'm going to be doing a few episodes all about this idea of getting yourself prepared so that you are set. You are ready to go no matter what they throw at you. You're going to be completely prepared and you're going to just inspire and awe them with what you're talking about, with your incredible subject. This week, I'm focusing on what to do and how to prepare if you're going to be interviewed for an article in written form, so a blog or a newspaper or something like that. Over the next few weeks, I'm also going to talk about how to prepare if you're going to be doing a podcast and also how to prepare if you're going to be going on camera for a video of some sort. So before I go any further, full disclosure, you might have guessed by now, I'm not an introvert. If you stick a microphone or a camera in my face, I'll probably sing you a showstopper, right? And I wasn't always like this. I used to have a public speaking phobia, and after a long battle, I beat it. I figured out what to do, and in fact, I wrote a book all about it. Speak From Within is designed to help, especially people who are afraid of getting out there and telling their story, how to do it in such a way that it feels positive and exciting and inspiring and compelling. And so I took the lessons I learned and brought them into the book. Now, as a writer and coach and performer to promote my latest works, I do the same thing that I'm going to be talking about today. I give interviews for print or online, radio, podcasts, and video. And each medium has its own preparation requirements. But you can't just go on those shows willy-nilly. If you want your message, product, or service to get the attention it deserves, you're going to want to prep so you and your materials will shine. That process is what I'm calling getting camera ready. And over the next few episodes, I'm going to detail some of the steps to help you get there. But let's define that term, camera ready. Camera ready was used in pre-digital publishing days to mean that a piece of printed material was ready to go to press. It had been edited and fixed and modified to the point where it was ready to be photographed and turned into printing plates to be released out into the world. And I'm using it here to talk about what you need to do to get yourself, quote, camera ready for your interviews. So what do you have to do to prepare to go on camera or be interviewed for an article or a radio show or a podcast? As I said, this week's episode is all about to be prepared to go get interviewed for an article in written form. And we're going to break everything down by medium. So let's say you've just published a book or you're promoting a new product or project. You're going to want to do some sort of a press junket. You might want to seek out interviews on blogs, newspapers, magazines, or other written media. So what do you need to do to prep? Here are the steps. Number 1, know your stuff. If you're not a subject matter expert in the field, do your research before you give an interview. You want to have your concepts under your belt before you open your mouth. And I'm assuming, actually, that you are a subject matter expert in the field if you're creating a product or doing a project in it, you better know something about it. But if you don't, doing your research and being prepared to talk about different aspects of what this is, whatever you're promoting, is going to be crucial to giving a good quality, exciting, compelling interview. Because let's face it, the person interviewing you wouldn't have asked you if they didn't think you were an expert. They're not interested in exploring the topic. They're interested in talking to someone who knows something about it. And if they are interested in exploring the topic and they're going to want to talk to lots of people, you still want to be the number one person in their pocket. First of all, because you want them to keep coming back to you, but also because if you're going to be doing the interview, you'd like the focus to be on you. The more an expert you are, the more that's going to happen. And not only will they want to interview you, but the publishing world can be kind of small, so you can always ask for references, for sources, for other people you can contact to get on their blogs, to be interviewed for their newspapers. And that doesn't happen unless the person thinks you're a good interview. In other words, you're fun, you're exciting, you excite and inspire the audience, and you know your stuff. Number 2, check your sources. Once you've done the research, make sure you note the sources you're going to want to reference or quote. For example, in an interview on my team building workshops, I might say that studies have shown that when people sing together, their heartbeats synchronize. And that's true, which I think is really cool. But I want to be able to refer to the study that found this to be true. NPR and the BBC did a story on this exact subject and the study that took place in Switzerland, all about how people's heartbeats synchronize when they sing. So when I talk about it, I'm going to have the study ready to reference in the interview. Number 3, practice your elevator pitch. Now, if you don't know what an elevator pitch is, the elevator pitch is the 1 or 2 sentence snippet that you can give someone who's asking you about what it is you're doing. And imagine you're traveling in an elevator with the perfect person to talk to about what you're trying to achieve from the first floor to the 12th floor, nonstop. That takes maybe 12 to 15 seconds or so, and you're going to want to have that 12 or 15 seconds worth of I'm going to light up your life with what I want to do and with what I'm talking about. So the person on the other end of the line might want you to give them that 1 or 2 sentence description of your story. What's it all about? In a recent interview, the interviewer asked me what my book was about. My answer: Speak From Within is all about teaching people how to be exciting, inspiring, and effective communicators. In a nutshell, that's what the book is about. And I gave that information as a benefit for the audience. In other words, when you're talking about your product or project, refrain from saying what it is. Instead, concentrate on communicating what it will do for the people who use it. Number 4, get enough sleep the night before. Seriously, don't shortchange yourself on this one. If you're tired, you'll be more likely to say something that's incorrect, or at least that doesn't highlight your ideas in the best possible light. If you're well rested, you'll be less nervous, less reactive, and you'll be much more calm as you speak. That way you'll be able to get the message across in a better and more exciting way to the people who are going to read about it. Number 5. Warm up your mouth and other speaking muscles. You'd never run a marathon or even a sprint without first warming up. The same goes for speaking. Since this is for a written article, you don't have to worry too much about what your voice sounds like. Come back for the episode on that next week. For now, you just need to be concerned that you're saying what you mean to say and how you mean to say it. One of the best ways to do that is to warm up your speaking apparatus. For that, do tongue twisters like minimal animal, minimal animal, minimal animal, or rubber baby buggy bumper, rubber baby buggy bumper. And the reason I'm saying that is because I have all of those tongue twisters sitting right at izoldat.com, and you can find them and practice with them before you start. You want to be sure that you're speaking as clearly as possible so that there's little room for misinterpretation, right? If you're clear, if you are articulate, then you will be able to articulate everything you need to say in a way that will be quotable, easily understood, and easily written about. So the person interviewing you will be able to write what you mean and what you say much better if you're very clear on what it is you're saying. Warming up your breathing apparatus and making sure that you say things exactly how you want to physically will go a long way to making that happen. Number 6, breathe. Take 3 solid, long, deep breaths before you get on with the person who will be interviewing you. If you know your meeting is set for 11 a.m. at 10:45 a.m., stop what you're doing, go for a slow walk, and take deep breaths. Breathe in for 4 steps you take, hold your breath for 4 steps, and then breathe out for 4 steps. Do that for a few minutes, and you'll be amazed at how calm and safe you'll feel. The breathe tip also works while you're doing the interview. When the interviewer asks you a question, take a breath before answering. No one ever said you have to answer right away. Take a second and breathe. Think it through. Things will go better, I promise. Number 7, collect your thoughts. This continues from number 6. Take time to formulate your answer. I'm not saying you should take 5 minutes, but a few seconds so you say things the way you mean to say them? Absolutely. Don't rush, and you'll be more effective and engaging. Number 8, be authentic. You want to answer the questions from the depths of your heart, honestly and authentically. If you do, audiences will respond to you better. They just will. They'll perceive your honest and open intentions and will respond accordingly. Nothing beats that authentic connection. It inspires people and it helps them see who you really are. If you take the time to give answers that come from your heart, that's exactly what you'll give them. Number 9, answer questions using mirroring. Often, the interview will want to publish snippets of what you said. Give them a little bit of the previous question as part of your answer. You do that by repeating the last 3 or 4 words of their question. Let's say they ask, "So, tell me what it's all about." You might answer, "It's all about," and then go on. It gives a more complete answer, and they'll be able to edit your words better. Again, because you want to be sure that what you want to say is what they print, you want to have your answers as complete and full and quotable as possible. Number 10, have a good closing statement. If what it's all about is your elevator pitch, then the closing statement is the penthouse. You want to leave your audience inspired, moved, and excited about your topic. So, ask the interviewer what their last question will be. That way you can prepare a fabulous closing statement. But even if you don't have the question, listen to the interviewer's voice. Regardless of the questions they ask, you'll hear a rise in volume or pitch in their voice when they're winding up the interview. If you've figured out your astounding closing statement, bring your answer around to it no matter what question they ask. That way, your message will be the last thing that will stick in the minds of the readers and the interviewer. Number 11, speak clearly. You can be as eloquent as Maya Angelou, but if you aren't enunciating your words, if you're mumbling, then no one will understand your brilliance. And that'll mean that the interviewer might not write the story the way you'd like it written. Make sure your message has every opportunity to come through like a shining beacon. Seriously. I've been misquoted. It bites because there's really no way to undo it. Say it well the first time and you'll have a better chance of being quoted correctly. No matter how hard they try, sometimes interviewers get stuff wrong. Do everything you can to minimize this by being concise, clear, and straightforward. Number 12, have good quality image files and other supplemental materials. Have your headshot as a good quality JPEG ready to send. If you have a product or logo, have images of those on hand as well. You can ask the interviewers for their specs ahead of time. Chances are that print media will want 300 by 300 DPI resolution and a certain size, let's say 5 by 5 inches. Online media will have different specs. Have those specs ahead of time so you can get everything to them the way they need it. The more of that material they already have, the more they'll be likely to print and put up online, so the more people will be able to recognize what it is you are selling or talking about and be more likely to want to be part of it. Number 13, give them what they need and want with a smile. The more you give them what they need, how they need it, the more often they'll want to work with you. And that's best, isn't it? Giving one interview for one product or project doesn't get you far unless you're going to be on the front page of the New York Times. And even then, remember, the news cycle isn't that long anymore. You'll want the opportunity to work with these people often. The above tips will help you do just that. And remember, if you work with them and they like working with you, they might refer you to the next person. And that's number 14. If they really like you, if the interview goes well, you can ask them for repeat work, or you can say the golden sentence. Is there anyone else you can think of you could refer me to who would want to know about this story too? Some version of that will give you access to more people, more interviews, and spread the word about your message, project, or product. That's the way to do it. If you do all of that, you'll be able to get more people interested in your story. So if you're prepared, engaging, and easy to work with, they're going to want you back again, and you're going to be able to spread your story and your message far and wide. And I want you to stay tuned. Come back next time for the preparation tips for the audio format media. So if someone wants you to be on their podcast, or if they want to interview you for their radio show, you need to be prepared for that as well. Some of those techniques are similar to what we've talked about today, and some of them are quite different. So come on back next time to hear what it is you need to do to sound your absolute best and most exciting self in audio interviews. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and I hope that you will tell other people all about this show and the fact that it's evolving into a show about living your best and most creative life and telling that story. I hope that you'll keep joining in, and if you know someone who needs to hear all of this information, please tag them, let them know about the show, let them know about what we're building here. This episode has been brought to you by my latest book, Speak From Within, Engage, Inspire, and Motivate Any Audience. I'm going to put a link to the book on the show notes page for this episode, and also I'm going to put a link to the video interview I just recently did all about the book so you can see how an interview might flow if you're prepared for it. Again, my name is Isolde Trachtenberg, and have a fabulous week. Until next time, I send you all my love. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to the podcast if you're new, and please tell your friends about the community we're building here. Today's episode was produced by Isolde Trachtenberg and is copyright Isolde Trachtenberg 2018. Today's music was from Kevin MacLeod, Laser Groove, and Ave Marimba, brought to you by Creative Commons License 3.0. As always, please remember this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance does not guarantee future results, although we can always hope. Until next time, I send you all of my love.